everyone, welcome to GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us as always is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hi.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And in the super seat this week, Matt Blair.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you very much for being here, Matt Blair.
No problem.
So if there are any diehard fans of GT Time, there must be at least one, who are paying close attention to the rundown, our rotating super seat. This person may be asking, where's Ian? Why did we skip Ian? Here's what's going on now with GT Time. Ian is going to, we've given Ian free reign to interrupt the show whenever he feels like. Because he is the only person who can like run the TriCaster. We can't replace we can't put him in the super seat and have him switch shots and listen to our voices. So now we've given him, like, Ian, how are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I swear your microphone is better than ours.
It's the exact same.
You sound so good right now. You sound so like smooth and cool.
I'm doing my smooth, cool voice.
We should all try to do a smooth, cool voice.
Smooth, cool voice. So, Ian, anytime any of us like are clearly making a mistake on air, we'd appreciate it if maybe you would like correct us.
Sure thing, Kyle.
But also, like, if you just disagree with anything you're listening to, please chime in.
It'll happen.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is going to last one episode. We have opened Pandora's box.
I love it. So, Matt Blair, the super seat question, the rotating question, it's not a question. Give us a statement. Tell us about the last time you had a great idea.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to go way back.
Way back.
The year was 2015.
Okay.
It was a cold winter in LA. I think it got down to like 55 degrees.
Uh-oh.
And this was actually last night. I had gotten home and had a bunch of leftovers to choose from.
Yeah.
There was a macaroni and cheese bake. There was some bacon.
Great.
And there were some tortillas. And I immediately got depressed because I realized that nowhere in my life had I yet thought to put together a mac and cheese with bacon burrito.
God.
So I did it.
Please describe the steps.
I put some mac and cheese in the tortilla with some bacon.
Yeah.
And then I wrapped it up. It was delicious.
That might be the best idea yet.
So here's the thing. Matt Blair's the last in the rotation. We're going back to Brad next week. I think we can give it to Matt.
For the best idea.
Better than Nopra?
I think you've overtaken Nopra.
What's Ian's best idea?
Ian, what was your great idea? When was the last time you had a great idea?
I guess my best idea that I've had recently will be a few days from now when I play Bloodborne.
Your idea is to play Bloodborne.
I mean, while he's playing it, if you were to ask him that question, what answer do you think you're going to get? Yeah.
I don't know. It's not an idea.
Nopra is cool, but you can't eat Nopra.
Well,
Nopra does not have bacon in it. I'm just putting that on there.
You don't know that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I still think about Nopra sometimes. I think about this television show in which people are excited to go to it, but they also they're secretly hoping, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't one of the ones where she takes cars away from us.
No, I think it'd be more like a lottery. It's like you get picked. It's like, oh no, I have to go on the show this week.
Well, Nopra doesn't always take a car. Just like Oprah doesn't always give a car.
Still,
like points, it's like Caesar,
Still though, if everything's inverse, then people have got to be dreading this thing. Like they have to be chosen. They can't just buy tickets or get on the
stage
list
is all dark
by their own
music's
accord.
all sad.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, she still has a show. Nopra still has a show. She has to have that at least. So there's something that appealing about it in some sense.
But it's a state-induced show.
Sorry? A state-induced show?
You have to watch it because all your friends are watching it. It's just everyone's into Nopra, so you have to be too.
And what's cool is Nopra is still on. Oprah made her own network that failed. It's doing okay.
It's actually doing
no correction.
More than okay.
You know what? While we're talking about corrections, let's just go straight to our corrections music. Please begin corrections music. James Turner did join Game Freak in 2010, but that was to work on Pokemon Black and White, not X and Y. You idiots. The vulture Pokemon is named Vullaby and Mandibuzz. That was no one even corrected. That's like a self-correction. No one called me out on that, but I'm like, I gotta get that
You're
straight.
making lots of Pokemon errors here, Kyle. I'm actually
Not the last one.
distressed.
James Turner, the person who designed Vanillish and Volibee. This is what the Elephant game isn't his first. He also directed Harmonite,
Cool.
which is
I
okay.
heard people like that game.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I didn't play it.
It's you know what? It's like one of the I'm bad at it. I'm just like I try to be good at it. I'm like just legit bad at that game.
Ah.
Like playing a musical instrument, it just bums me out. IdTech. Ben trashed on IdTech for a second last week. Turns out since like 2011, you can't buy IdTech. It is only for Bethesda games. So that might be a reason why we don't see a lot of games using IdTech. And also, Infinity Ward's Call of Duty engine was based off of IdTech. So there you go.
excellent.
We had some IdTech defenders. So just they're not a complete failure. Let's establish that. People commented on, oh, this is a funny one. This is a correction to the correctors. Brandon, you talked about how Rockstar doesn't have a documentary. You know what I mean? They don't do that. And then some people say, oh, actually, BBC is making a documentary about Rockstar.
Right.
And actually, so I did the right thing. I researched their corrections. I went to Google and I typed in BBC documentary GTA. I did that work. Turns out BBC is making a 90-minute TV drama about the making of GTA. How
With
cool is that?
actors?
With actors. It's not a documentary, it's a drama.
It's not necessarily making not a documentary.
Yes, it does.
It is a docudrama.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's going to be like, what would you call the Social Network?
A docudrama.
That's a docudrama?
You're like learning what it is, but it's.
I mean,
I
it's
don't know
like
about that.
it's the story in a way,
It's a
but
biopic.
they're making up all kinds of details to make it more interesting.
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't know if it'd be a biopic. You know?
But I think
put
there
it-
is a
Mark
difference.
Zuckerberg.
I think there is a difference
Oh,
between like,
Social
we
Network,
kind
yeah.
of know that the Doors did this, and like this happened yesterday. Like we know, we have it. We have the emails. We have everything. We have all the information. Like I think those are two different levels of biopic.
Yeah, weird.
I feel like have you ever read Game Over? I feel like some of that is like you've got to have made some of that up, like in terms of like the way like they have people like they describe facial expressions and stuff in there, and it's like, yeah, you weren't in that room, so I don't buy every little detail you're giving me, but it's a great story.
We'll get to end corrections music there. I have a funny story about Game Over. That was the first thing I ever got to write for GTTV. Jeremy plopped that book and said, "Hey, look, just write a description of this book for GTTV." And I was so excited. It was a 30-second segment. And I was going to be on Spike, and so I had to like read that book and like learn about just Madden and stuff like that, like the creation of Madden. And then I got like Daniel Kaiser reading that. And it was on TV, and like that. That's the
TV's
worst.
no joke, man.
Yes, it is. Like that's my dumb little 30-second segment that nobody saw is a joke. Like that's ridiculous.
At 1:37 a.m. on Spike.
yeah. But sometimes things are exciting for people.
No, that's actually legitimately cool. I'm proud of you, Kyle. I wasn't trolling. He can't tell the difference between when I'm trolling and when I'm being serious.
All right, so just for
Well, he's always trolling himself, so it's like
that's true.
also for listeners, let's just get this clear. Let's hear Matt Blair say something sincere.
I can't think of anything to say.
Okay, and now let's hear Matt Blair give us a troll.
You can't just
this
put
is
me
not
on this
working.
hot. You can't put me on the hot seat. We'll hear a troll later on.
Okay,
we'll
and
point
then
it out for people.
we're going to need to be very clear about what this troll is and what the sincerity is. Okay.
Yeah, you can't rush perfection, Kyle.
I mean, I think it's about to happen. We got a heavy news story this week at the top. I'm stressed about this. I don't know how to handle it. This is just rolling in this morning. Hideo Kojima, they took his name off the box. That's my headline.
That's the headline.
That's my
The story
headline.
describes all
You
of
literally had like the Kyle Bosman Daily, like in large black print. They took his name off the box.
They took his name off the box.
What's on the box?
Oh, they took it off.
Not Hideo Kojima.
So many things happened.
So what's crazy is that like the moment this happened, everyone collectively forgot that he had anything to do with the game. And so that's what's weird. Like when you talk to people about Metal Gear, none of us mention Kojima anymore because like for some reason he's just completely vanished from the public eye.
So a lot of things have happened. Let's try to just recap everything that's happened this morning. It's not just take his name off the box. There are rumors he's leaving Konami. There's rumors that Kojima is leaving Konami. at the end of this year. There's rumors that
he's been shut out from company email and stuff like that. That there was some kind of falling out. Basically,
Supposedly his contract ends in September when the game comes out.
Kojima Productions LA has been changed to Konami, Konami studio. They just took out his name out of that studio.
The Kojima Productions Twitter has been changed to like a Metal Gear English Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many things. Konami is doing all that it can to remove the word Kojima off of Metal Gear Solid 5.
It's the guy's name, right? So if they know he's going to be departing the company, then they do need to do damage control to some level. I don't think that this really indicates anything now. When you got a guy's name on the outside of the building or on your box or whatever the case may be, and that studio no longer represents him or won't in the future, that could go either way. Kojima could have just... I mean, from reports we're seeing that there's some drama, but let's try to be, give the benefit of the doubt here that maybe there's a chance that Kojima planned on leaving or something like that. If he planned on leaving, they would still have to do that with that company.
No, they wouldn't.
I feel like
Absolutely.
you don't like take everyone's name off buildings like the day and date if it's a planned thing, right?
On one day, it's like a very sudden. Ian, thank you. Good interjection, man. That's like you're one for one right now. That was excellent. Exactly. Like this happened very suddenly, no warning. Just cat.
For us.
Right.
It happens suddenly for us.
That means it is planned, because then it would be totally scattershot. Then you'd have different people meet, blowing deadlines and, not doing that stuff.
Yeah,
like
all of
that.
this stuff happening
to
at
change
the same time.
To change Twitter account, like to have all these things that would take different scheduled times and then have like one clear, the axe was swung and it happened. That seems very calculated. That seems very intentional.
What is...
Here's the issue that we need to address.
Let's address this first and foremost.
See, what you're upset about, Kyle, is that you want video games to achieve some kind of auteurship. To be able to assign a creative mind to a game and say that this work is this work is directly connected to this human being. This human being was primarily responsible for the creative production of this game.
Yes,
and that carries a tremendous amount of weight when I play games. First of all, I don't care. I actually don't want to think. The only thing I want to think about with one intentional person is a book, because the person wrote that, and then maybe somebody came and edited later, but that was really primarily that one person. But if it's like a TV show, a film, or a game, so many people were involved in that production. I don't really get hung up. So first and foremost, that's why this doesn't bother me that much.
You don't care who directs a movie?
I care who does that, but I don't assign the entire quality of the film to that person.
I don't say you have to do that, but you can say, yes, this is the creative influence of this one person over this project.
Right. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying personally, I don't care. I'm just setting that up, just so you know where I'm coming from. And the other issue is, because that's a separate conversation. The other issue is, when you put yourself out there, when you actually say that this isn't, didn't just create this company, I didn't create Cliff Bleszinski Productions, I belong to Epic Games. So Cliff Bleszinski's one thing, Epic Games is another thing. Kojima's it's all Kojima. He really wanted to put his name on that, and he really wanted to put himself out there. And I think when you're dealing with business, you have to make these strong moves like this to separate that. You can't. It's not just as simple as being okay, we'll just take his name off. It's your name is your company, is your employees, is your brand, is your history, is this franchise. It's there's so many things that name is that you can't just kind of make little erases here and there. It's got to be this giant Band-Aid rip.
Yeah, I guess that's another Hollywood lesson. Never put your name in the business title.
And you brought up a really good point earlier, Blood, which we should also address, which is we don't know. Kojima could be stoked about this. You never know.
Right.
This could actually be something that he wanted to do. The guy, you specifically used the word weirdo earlier, and I love that. The guy is a weirdo, and he could be literally on his couch with his phone scrolling through Twitter, just cackling.
Let's
loving
be clear.
every minute of it.
Let's be clear. It's obvious that he loves being a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we don't know the whole story. I think the inside source definitely paints in a different light to me, because there is definitely some kind of power struggle happening, and who knows, maybe Kojima just finally asked for too much or whatever, and basically it comes down to, well, they're not going to do that, and he's well, see how you do without me then.
Right, we forgot to mention this. Officially speaking, he will no longer be an executive at Konami. That's not even a rumor. That's he's off.
Yeah, well, from the inside source, it's he's not even technically an employee. He's now a contractor.
Yes.
simply to finish the games that he's been working on. Like they're not going to allow this to derail, even though like the public's going to are already having a field day. Over the next few days, people are going to put a lot of pressure on both sides trying to get details out and things like that.
Here's how I feel about this. Konami, you idiots. You are so lucky to be involved with this person.
Yeah,
this is like 2K saying, oh, Rockstar, they kind of take too much credit for GTA. Oh, we should put our name first and foremost. Like, no, you shouldn't, Konami. You're lucky. There's so few directors. We don't let people take claim for video games in this industry. This guy has been making Metal Gear games since the 80s, and they're still relevant. They're still good. No one else has helmed a franchise, like a AAA franchise like this whole time, directing each
Not
game.
as publicly.
And also, like, Konami, like, I feel like there has to have been a falling out because they used him as, like, a chief, like, advertising, like, pro of Silent Hills. Yeah, like, we got true. Konami. He's, like, the A-list name on that project, and now he's gone?
Okay, so you're 1 for 2 there, Ian, because you said we got Konami when I think you meant to say we got Kojima.
Yeah, Kojima.
Well, those words aren't anything alike, so.
You can't, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that's what's so funny is they're like so tied together. It's gonna hurt to watch them ripped apart.
One thing though, I think maybe somewhat contributing to this is I really kind of wonder how much of this has to do with his experience working with the LA studio and how much they've been working on this game and him just seeing, hey, look, the way business is being done here in the States is really different. I want to change things up and I prefer the way these guys are working. And, you know, he'd probably, you know, maybe want to start a studio in his own style, his own way with more independence.
That could be true. I mean, the LA studio, from my understanding, is mostly working on multiplayer. Isn't that correct?
I think that may be correct, but I don't know for sure.
But I mean, still, it wouldn't defeat that point of him going and seeing, oh, this works, all this works. It's just to start a big studio, he would need so much money. Maybe maybe he can support that. But
I have a feeling he's made a few bucks over the years.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I mean, let's at least instead of being miserable, talk about like what he could do. Let's say he is gone at the end of this year. Where does Kojima go?
So one of our old friends, Wario64, has tweeted, and I have it right here on the desk, and I thought it was pretty relevant. I think this could fuel the discussion a little bit.
Great.
We won't stay on this particular point too long, but he says,
I like this, pulling up tweets.
I guess the Lali Lule Lo are erasing the Kojima name from existence.
Yeah.
Is this the work of the Patriots?
So to non-fans of the Metal Gear franchise, this is a super dumb thing. In the future, everyone has nanomachines inside them. If they attempt to say the word "the Patriots" out loud, their bodies instead say "Lali Lule Lo." You cannot say the words "the Patriots."
Yeah,
Or you also can't hear it. So if like you were to say it, I wouldn't hear it. I would actually hear you saying "la la la," or is it?
No,
it actually does a muscular response.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They don't allow their name to be spoken.
Which is essentially
the
like, it's kind of like a changed form of like a Japanese ABCDE kind of thing.
I thought it was a hearing thing because you hear people say it. Like the way the conversation rolls is you'll hear someone say blah, 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 Patriots. And then the person will respond, what do you mean la 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 lo? So I heard you say Patriots. So your muscles didn't do nothing. You actually said Patriots. And then the response is, wait, what I heard was la 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 lo.
You were right. It was a bad idea for us to get into that.
Yeah.
Just say that's not a conversation.
So like, can Kojima start his own studio? Should he try to get bought? Should he try to?
No, he should start his own thing. And everybody's done that. Like he's one of the last publishers that is actually at a company that he was at in like the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, like so many other people in this year, like deeply ingrained in something like Nintendo.
Everyone else has moved on. Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, everybody's moved on and done cool stuff.
Because Nintendo loves its developers is the big difference. That's the big difference. They like their developers. Nintendo says, directors, you're good. You're good at making games. We like you. Put your name on the box. Oh.
But a job like that is more of a lifetime
on the box.
commitment.
They don't put their name on the box.
You don't see Tabata on the box.
You don't. Should get on the box. I want to rant so hard about that. Names should be on the directors' names should be on the boxes. They should be on the boxes. And now there's one less name on the box. Oh, I'm hurt. I'm real hurt by this. No, let's do our dumb podcast.
It'll be on the box when he makes his own.
What should he
do? Would you want Kyle Bossman's GT time up there?
No, this isn't like.
Why shouldn't you? It's your show, man. Why shouldn't you put your name Go M. Night Shyamalan and do it. Put your name on top of the thing.
This isn't like a creative show. Like if I were to make a game, if I were to make like a movie or TV show, yeah, I want like.
You wrote a show. You wrote all this down, and we
barely
planned it. And you did the graphics, and you picked the color of the lights and the whole thing.
You even sent the email out before this morning.
I do say my name first in the show, though. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I do take credit for it. You know,
I want you to market yourself, Kyle. I want you to put your name from this day forward. It's Kyle Bossman's GT time.
Okay. Well, everyone, welcome to Kyle Bossman's GT time.
Oh, gosh.
I'm your host, Kyle Bossman. Yeah, I don't know. We should move on. I'm so like I think I'm too emotional about it right now.
We also don't know.
That's the one thing I agree with that you said.
Yeah, we don't know a lot.
We don't know much for certain.
You know, because I think no matter what, you know, Metal Gear will probably go out the door pretty much unaffected.
Oh, it is worth mentioning. That.
Except, what if they butted heads on a delay? That could have been a big deal.
How do you mean?
Like if he wanted to push Metal Gear to next year, and they're like, no, we're not doing it.
It's got to be.
We have to have it out.
It's never one thing. You know what I mean? If it was just that, it wouldn't be this huge falling out. This huge falling out has got to be a number of things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever actually, like, we might hear somebody in the company being like, I know what happened, but like, how are we legitimately going to trust that? We'll never find out.
But the other question too is, you know, does Silent Hills still exist? Will he be contracted for that separately? Will it just die on the vine?
No, he's going to call Guillermo tonight. Guillermo will say hello, and they'll have a conversation about like making a game, the exact same game with a different name. It doesn't have to be anything about Silent Hills.
It sure would have some selling power. It'd be a massive
It kind of
disappointment
depends
if you don't have
on how that
Silent Hills.
contract's set up, honestly.
Yeah.
Hearing that theme again was key. That was a good moment.
Okay, well, they'll just take his name off the box. He'll probably still make it as a contracted person. In good news, encouraging news that I'm not emotional about. Nintendo made a big announcement this week. Oh my gosh, and their stock rose because Nintendo said, we're finally making mobile games. Here you go. And then all the investors said, oh, Nintendo will start making money now. I'm going to buy some stocks in Nintendo. I'm being facetious. I'm still emotional.
Yeah, because, you know, keeping stocks in a company that's been around for like 100 and something odd years is such a bad idea.
Yeah.
This is
So
think about how many more stocks you could have gotten if you had done it before everyone jumped on the bandwagon.
what do you mean? When the Wii bandwagon?
Well, that would have been great too.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, like I'm sure a lot of people probably started selling off stocks, and it's like, oh, the Wii fad's over, and you know, let's get rid of this and sell it while before it gets too low.
Those people are probably
and now
millionaires.
It's going to go up.
No, it'll never go back up to where it was at the Wii level.
Why?
I feel like everyone who sold it at the peak of Wii is just like a stock market genius.
I don't think people necessarily sold it at the peak of Wii. I think they sold it like too late.
Yeah, it was hard to predict that fall off. That was crazy. I should make more details clear. DNA, a Japanese mobile studio.
They do a lot with Square
company.
Enix. They just did a Transformers game. They've been pretty big in the space.
Mm-hmm. And so this is who Nintendo has chosen to partner with to make its mobile games. And they'll be coming fall 2015. Brandon, are you encouraged by this as someone who generally doesn't care about Nintendo news?
I care about Nintendo news. I also care that we don't have too much Nintendo news.
Sure.
I care about both these things. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I think I'm predicting that a lot of this stuff will be new. That the first one isn't going to be like Super Mario Brothers 3 for the phone. Because honestly, I don't want to play Super Mario Brothers 3 on my phone.
They promised it won't be that.
Surprisingly, and I think we've talked about this before, Kyle. The one thing I want to play on my phone is Pokemon. Like if they make a Pokemon MMO, I want to play that on my phone.
It will not be that.
Yeah.
I know it won't be that, but that's a good example of something like, oh, okay, I'll enter into your franchise.
Yeah.
If you make a Pokemon game that's built for the phone, that's like this will control the way phones control. We'll take advantage of all that stuff. So yeah, I want new stuff. If they do new stuff, I think this will be really good.
Well, that's the whole plan. Is they want to do new stuff. They don't
because all the old stuff
things.
will live on their consoles.
Yeah.
And then they'll come out. They'll bring their characters to new franchises.
I think the interesting thing about that is that they've been very clear that they are going to primarily handle development, while DNA primarily handles like all of the the details in terms of payment structures and the online membership account. And the online membership account is going to be something that crosses over into the Nintendo platforms as well. They're going to finally have a unified account system.
That's the best news. So on your laptop, on your phone, and on your Wii U and your 3DS, you'll all have the same account.
Nice.
That's crazy. That's like finally. Thank you.
See, and when I first heard about this deal,
Yeah.
to me it made sense because it's a company that is knee deep in their own hardware, reaching out to somebody who's developed for this platform before, right? So you would go and look for someone who knows how to take advantage of a touchscreen, of your phone, of the mobility of the phone, all of the different kind of psychological factors that go into why we think differently about our cell phone games than we do about our console games, things like that. And now you're kind of telling me that Nintendo is going to start developing, and these guys kind of handle more of like the logistics.
Well, they're handling like how you distribute it, how the payment structures and things like that. But I think Nintendo very well knows how to take advantage of touchscreens.
Sure.
Right? They did it before the phones did it.
Yeah, and they're talking about motion controls too. But hold on, I read that quote actually because someone brought that to my attention as like a Kyle Bossman. You're wrong. They're doing nothing of the game development. What Iwata directly said was that not just like he said the systems, and I don't think that entirely means back end. I don't think that entirely means like how we'll do microtransactions, because what he says right before that is that this company knows how to get people to come and play this game every day. And he says that's what they're going to help us with. That's the stuff that terrifies me. That's the stuff that sucks about mobile games is their addictive nature.
But they made it very clear, like their goal is to, do everything they can to avoid like their IP being devalued,
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things we've seen with Square Enix. It's like now if Square Enix announces a mobile game, it's like, well, somebody tell me if it's good because I'm not going to jump on that grenade.
That's a great point. Yeah, Square Enix has done some nasty things in the mobile space. And you're right, they're directly addressing every concern I could possibly bring up. Every question I've had, they basically answered.
Well, and at the very base of it, this is a very smart business decision for Nintendo in every way possible.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the public, us as human beings, we've proven to the world that stuff like this is in demand because people are paying anywhere from $10 a week up to thousands of dollars a month on games that we hate. Like, we hate that we're addicted to this stuff, but we keep proving that we are. We keep proving that there's a demand for stuff like this by mindlessly paying for it in some cases. And so, of course, they're going to jump on it because they think, all right, well, we want to succeed as a business and we want our investors to believe in us. We want more people to invest in us. We're going to make a smart business decision that is basically guaranteed income. So we've proven to them, we've shown them that we want this, whether we do or not, we've shown them that we do. So it's a smart business choice.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So I would never blame them for doing it, but I will be sore about it if it's pay to win in every way, shape, and form that most games are these days.
That's actually something that they kind of addressed, though, is that not every game will necessarily follow the same payment structure. Because people ask, like, would it be like a premium game where you just chunk down the money and you've got it, or would it be, Iwata's words were free to start?
Yes.
And they didn't nail it down. It's like, we're going to look at each product individually and figure out, what the best payment structure is for it. And, so it's, like they're definitely aware of all the potential concerns that are there, including, Nintendo getting out of the hardware business, which their other thing was, we have a new system coming and we'll announce it next year.
Great transition, Blood. They've mentioned the name of their next dedicated video game hardware, Nintendo NX.
We've heard this sort of thing before, Kyle.
We've heard NX before?
No, we've heard this is what the project name is, and then they'll come up with something that's cutesy and
absolutely. Yes, this is our new revolution. This is our new
this is the cafe.
Cafe, exactly. I loved Cafe. Cafe was so exciting. Let's just do like a word association. How does everyone feel about NX?
I remember Mega Man, like 20XX.
Okay.
That's it. Like, it's
So
it's
like,
not cutesy at all. It's just the most basic thing. It's NX. It's like, it's Nintendo. They just put an X at the end.
Well, X is the variable, man.
Yeah.
It's like Nintendo times what?
To me, I read new experience out of it.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. But that's kind of the habit of Nintendo. Every time they've built a new console in the last decade, they go for a new experience.
No, oh God. Because you know why I say ew is because you're 100% right. I
hope
think
I'm wrong.
Even said no. I think he said our new hardware that will have like a new hook to it, a new experience. A unique.
NX sounds a lot cooler than NE, and I think that's kind of what it means.
Ew. Brandon, how do you feel about NX?
I got a strong '90s vibe from that. Wasn't there like a Game Boy called like the DX or something? Like wasn't?
Well, like
DX.
the Mario Brothers was Super Mario Brothers DX for
Okay.
Deluxe.
And also,
Yep.
the PlayStation's official acronym was PSX. For some reason.
Which they've
Way
used
way
in many different
post-mortem.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get like a WWF vibe from like NX.
Which is exciting to me. At least it's not like capital W, two lowercase i's, dash U. No dash, actually. Yeah, I mean, it is important that they mention they still have a dedicated hardware. I think a lot of headlines said Nintendo goes mobile. You know what I mean? And when you hear that, you think, oh, they're not going to make consoles in 3 more years. And Nintendo strongly stated, yes, we are. Come on, we're still
That's a bit of an overreaction. I mean, maybe it could have been phrased a little bit better by, the larger public people. Like we're describing it probably not exactly verbatim,
right.
but most of our games are kind of mobile right now. We have apps and connectivity with every game, and some of them you can actually play mini games. Like Evolve has their mini game that you can gain experience for your people while you're offline, while you're on your phone, whatever the case may be. And more games are going to keep doing that because, like I said, we've proven it's.
Have you played that mini game?
For like 5 seconds.
What are the actions of the mini? Like, what is the game?
It plays like kind of like a Final Fantasy battle type situation, like not quite tactics.
Weird.
Well,
It's
I'm
like
sorry,
it's
like a
like
turn-based
turn-based RPG kind of battle. Yeah, it's
against
actually
the monster?
against several monsters, and then there's like you keep fighting more difficult monsters until you pass a level, that sort of thing.
Are you being sincere or are you trolling right now?
That was pretty sincere.
This sounds really cool, actually.
It is. It's cool, but of course, if you play Evolve and only Evolve, sure, pretty cool because you're sitting on the toilet or you're at work trying to avoid doing work.
Yeah.
You can be leveling up your characters very slowly, I might add. And of course, there's some freemium to it. You can pay to succeed, that sort of thing.
I see.
It's just an extra way for them to make money, Kyle.
Take back that statement. Okay, Brandon, what are your hopes for Nintendo's next hardware? Like, what could they possibly put out in 2 years? They won't talk about it again for the rest of the year, Iwata has promised. So it looks like it's probably going to be a 2017 product. That's when Nintendo's next hardware comes out.
I'm guessing handheld because it seems way too soon to get ahead of the next console to be like a next gen console.
Well, no, I mean, I think
Like,
it's
if they talk about hardware, could it just be like maybe an add-on, like Wii Motion Plus? Like
No,
something
no,
they just
it won't
add
be
on
that.
It
to
won't be
Wii
Wii
U?
Motion. It'll be
Yeah.
something much more dramatic than that.
the hints that they've given is that the handheld console thing will go away.
What?
Like you will buy either a handheld version or a home version of the same machine.
Of the NX.
Yeah.
So, to me, that sounds like the Wii U gamepad that can just put a disc in or download games to.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm not completely avert to the concept, but I don't want to pay $250 for a Wii U gamepad that you have to plug in everywhere you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, Brandon, don't you hope they would make a sweet hardware, like just a thick box full of just hardware? That's never gonna happen again, is it? That's
No,
not happening.
that's not. That's not what they've been doing the last couple of years. Like they've been
The last 10 years,
yeah. Like the Wii was really cool, and they put all their eggs in the motion basket, and that was really fun. But it was also not fun playing SD games for another like 4 or 5 years, via Nintendo consoles. So like, there's a lot of like all the like the mobile integration we're talking about. It's like they're not gonna do. I would be really surprised if they actually do what the Assassin's Creed franchise has been doing for like 3 games now. We're like implementing all fun little mobile things and connecting all this stuff.
But I think
We were just talking about
I
having a
think they
unified
might, though.
account, like how mind blowing that is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's been around for how long?
I think that's kind of part of this whole thing. Like they even moved, some of the development structure around because this is kind of the direction. It's like everyone's going to be on the same page. And if you think about like the way Nintendo releases games, like it is this weird split thing to where like they act like people don't have both a 3DS and a Wii U. So like the games will come out on the exact same day and like, are you crazy? Like which game do you want me to play right now?
And they smile and say both.
Right. So, if you think about all the games that they've been putting out on the 3DS, and if those games were on the Wii U as well, there would be just like, a huge amount of product out there, and you wouldn't be feeling like you're picking and choosing.
I don't know, Blood. Here's what I think. I think Nintendo knows the difference between a cell phone game a portable game and a console game. I think they like making two of those. And I think they want to make console games. I believe there are still people within that business who believe in a console game. I'm going to call it right here. The NX is a set-top box only. It does not have a screen. It doesn't have a little screen installed. It has controllers. That's what that NX is.
Well,
It's no motion.
no, I'm not
No
saying.
motion.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a combined device necessarily. Again, the example they've referred to,
But I mean,
is the iPhone and iPad.
yeah.
So you can buy the small one to take with you, or you buy the big one and you hook it up to your TV.
But there's games on my iPad I can play that are not on my iPhone.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're like there. So like there's still going to be some
But
huge
you can play all your iPhone games on the iPad.
Right.
He was just talking about this a minute ago, where they act like the Wii U and the 3DS, like people don't own both, and they just treat them separately. I agree with him in the sense that this might be their effort to unify all of their hardware that they put out next generation.
Yeah, I think they're still going to want people to buy both,
Probably.
just like Apple wants people to buy both.
Yeah.
But they recognize that the consoles and handhelds sell differently in different parts of the world as well. So clearly they've been doing research on people buying their hardware, which is something that we don't really need to think about until we see the NPD numbers and we notice that a game sold a console and all that junk. Their objective could simply be to just keep pushing hardware regardless of the software that's on it. Keep the hardware part of their company separate from their software.
Do you think, because the only time they ever do letters like that, it's been a handheld, and words are always consoles, like DS. Wasn't the Advanced called the SP or something like that?
No, the SP was a different model of the Advanced later
Right,
on.
the later one, yeah.
Yeah,
but
he
it's always
brings-
been letters for handhelds.
He brings up a great point in that the DS was a code name, and then they just stuck with it.
Yeah, but I think...
Ian, you're 2 for 3. That was
No,
a great
no,
one, man.
no.
Oh, okay, never mind. Hold on.
The
It might
DS
be-
was Nitro.
Oh, you're right. DS was
Yeah.
Nitro.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Still, though, the only time they've done the letters thing, it's a handheld.
What if they're going the Vita route, like a portable, I guess it's basically what we were talking about, but like a one-to-one separate console. That's
That would
like,
make you mad. That'd make
you
you
can
so
say,
mad.
well, they're gonna make 3DS games because those are
make me
exclusive
happy.
just to this whole portable, like Street Pass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like this doesn't have Street Pass. This is literally like a tinier gamepad that you can take with you that plays Wii U games.
One of the things
New
that
console just seems so weird for me because like we're still waiting. Like it might happen next year. 2017 is probably the year. Like 2017 is just gonna be this like amazing like all of these games that just started development after everyone finally got PS4s and Xbox Ones. I just like that. The Mass Effect 2 year of the last gen. Like whenever that happened, I'm waiting for that year in this gen. It's just so weird for us to finally get to that awesome crest in this generation. And Nintendo's like, here, new console. It's like, what are you doing? Like. That seems like the Dreamcast move times 20. Just like too early. This is not. It's just not the time.
But
I
I
just don't
think
need
that-
it.
but I
Like,
think that's
we
the
haven't even
thing
gotten an HD Metroid game yet, and they're talking about new consoles.
But I think that's the thing is Nintendo did come out a year earlier, and we're basically getting information that's really only meant for investors. It's like, hey, don't worry, we're not like totally upending the tea table on this thing. Like we're still going to do the things that we've been doing in a way. But we're going to do it smarter or whatever. But there's going to be more hardware coming from us in the future. We still believe in hardware, but we're not going to talk about it for a long time. So if they don't even start talking about the system really until next year, then 2017 is the earliest it would come out.
Yeah.
It's so close to E3 though. They're just they're just stoking it. They're gonna have. Are they not doing a press conference again this year? Or are they just doing a direct?
I haven't heard about anyone's press conferences
It's
yet,
going to be directs forever. They're never doing a
other
press
than
conference
the
again.
Bethesda one.
Right, but I mean that direct. What a disappointment that's going to be if they don't say anything.
They're not going to.
I
Oh,
know,
they're
but
not.
it's right before. It's just fun.
I don't want to
It's just
open
the
this
fun-
can
it's
of
like-
worms all the way, but just to maybe take a peek inside.
Okay.
But with how frequently things leak, there's a demand for leaks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It could possibly be them just being like, yes, we're working on it, or we don't want to tell you about it for a while. Just give you a little bit so that it's in the back of your mind so that in a year when they've prepped what they want to show you, you know what they're talking about.
Yeah. They probably came up with those 2 letters that morning. And
It's possible.
NX. Good. Perfect. Let's roll with it. Yeah. That's probably what happened.
But to be honest with you, knowing that company, they've probably been thinking about it for the last 7 years. But
Kyle Bossman's GT Time NX.
Okay. So let's move on to our next news story here on Kyle Bossman's GT Time NX. TXK is a Vita game. The developer of TXK has been halted from making Tempest-style games from the company presently known as Atari. This was a weird big news story that popped up this week. If I can explain it, the whole story, the way that we go through it, basically, at first, you're mad at Atari. You're like, they're telling him to halt making his game called TXK. Tempest isn't even in the title. They're saying it's too similar to Tempest. And so you're just like, come on, Atari, what's going on? Why
Assholes.
Yeah. Just let him make his game. But then you read deeper into the article and you watch videos. And so TXK is Tempest. Basically, this person, let me grab his name real quick. Jeff Minter.
Assholes.
Wait, who?
I'm trying to do a movie quote here. Probably won't work out. Is there a third party? Is there a third? And you're like, but then you realize.
Kotaku?
And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm the asshole. Sorry, Super Troopers reference. Poor. I apologize. Distraction. Continue.
It was a solid effort.
No, I think what's stupid is any reference you can make, there's going to be one person who calls it out in the comments who's just like, yes, I knew that one. So, Brandon, you got one person. Who's really fun to hear that.
It's Sifl and Ollie. I did a Sifl and Ollie reference on Last GT Time, and someone called it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sifl and Ollie from MTV. Bless that guy.
Wow.
On Twitter, who's I was there.
What were you doing watching Sifl and Ollie?
I was going to college, baby. When you were in diapers.
What a wild man. Brandon Jones in college watching Sifl and Ollie.
So good.
I really
spectacular. Really I mean, even now I go back and I'm not like, oh yeah, Sif and Ollie, but boy, those were those years. It's still good. Still just as good as it was.
It's not. No, that's not a good show.
See, this conversation is already more interesting to me than Tempest.
That was a troll. That was a troll. There it is.
No, but seriously, we're talking about a game that started in 1981 in the arcades. Right? That's where it started.
Okay. Jeff Minter not involved at this point.
Right.
Who cares at this point if he's making a game that's like it? I mean, can you not consider this a genre? So
did you watch the videos?
Yeah, I watched some of the footage, and yes, they're all very similar.
It's not just very similar. There are exact stage layouts
and
with the ship and everything.
Yeah, the design of the ship is the exact same, and that's where I would be like, man, just change the design of the ship. You know what I mean? Just make it a different shape, and they wouldn't be as mad.
So it's real funny because I can see the exact same level in Tempest 2000, Space Giraffe, and TXK. It is perfectly replicated.
Yeah.
But the one weird thing that was interesting is that he brought up how Atari made that other version after Tempest 2000.
That was very interesting.
That cut him out of the royalties and was it was just different enough to change his contract.
Yeah, so there's a legal limit to how different you have to make a game to not pay someone royalties. And so that's what they did with the PlayStation version of Tempest, which is Tempest X, correct?
I don't remember the name of that one.
Yeah, I think it's called Tempest X. And so it was just different enough. They changed just enough enemies and the way power-ups work, so they didn't have to pay him any money for it.
Wow.
This is Brandon Jones's world where nobody gets to be on the box.
But then when you
that's totally similar.
But the problem is when you go back to if you look through some of the stuff that was in the legal document, there were times where he was saying yeah, people didn't really feel some of the stuff in Space Giraffe was enough like Tempest, so he's making TXK more like Tempest. So it's a little self-incriminating there in a way. It's really strange.
Yeah, so basically, panel, I'd like to ask what advice you would give to Jeff Minter.
Well, I don't understand
why he's obsessed with this game.
Yeah, you either do. It's kind of like Inafune making Mighty Number 9, and it looks could potentially be cool, but at the same time, it's what? Why don't you just do something else? Why is it so similar to Mega Man? Just from what I've seen. And granted, I don't have a long storied history with Mega Man, so it's probably unfair.
But good point
to make that connection.
Why don't you just change his color, man? Why does he got to be blue? Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't say change color. Just as a creative person, I don't understand. Just totally do something different. You only have so many games in you. Just make something totally different. So for this guy, it's just do Tempest or don't do it. But it's weird to have such a connection to them and not play ball. I don't know. I mean, it just seems, and I'm not saying play ball is something you can just easily expected to do, but it's if you have that realistic, if you're I don't just want to make these types of games. I love this franchise so much. It's I don't know. It sounds like there wasn't a lot of planning as far as what was really going to happen for the future. If he clearly is just so married to this material.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it definitely looks like he was kind of like making an underhanded sequel. Just like Atari, this is spotless because I didn't put Tempest in the title, but like by all means, allowed it to be advertised as a Tempest sequel. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't change the ship's design. You made a Tempest game. And so to me, it's just kind of like, he wants to make a Tempest game. He can't. So like, it is time to, I feel like it's time to pack it up. Matt Blair, do you feel like pack it up?
All right, so the videos that Daniel sent, that
Yeah.
he was referring to earlier, we were watching different stages of this game style over the last 3 decades.
Yeah.
It's been the same since 1981, right? That's the problem. That's the problem here.
Yeah.
It's too similar to something that they've owned the rights for 3 decades.
Well, they bought the rights for it because Atari is existed in many different forms by many different companies.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is games that were on the Atari, they've changed. They've evolved. They've turned into better concepts and better games. And if they're still similar, they're still better somehow. They've moved on. If he can't make a game different enough to the point where he won't get sued by them, what's the point of making the game? A, because why would there be a demand for it? If you're right, he has to really want to make that game, and he's got to really not want to make it different. So, is it a quick cash grab? Not really, because
I believe in his heart of heart, he believes in Tempest. You know what I mean? I think he believes in that ship.
That's
he
great.
Won't change. Yeah.
But at that point, you have to realize the industry you're in and like start to figure out what you need to do to either make it different enough and like grab the attention of somebody who's going to pay you for it or want to publish it for you or whatever the case may be. But instead, this is where we are. We've heard about a company, and people are already pointing fingers at Atari, being like, "Why would you bother?" Blah blah blah. That's true because it's kind of a small thing, but at the same time, why make that small thing? Because he should have known that this could happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you have 2 options. One, you make a Tempest game in which you clearly need to spend more of your time with lawyers and with Atari and with the people who own the rights to Tempest, figuring out what they want, and then you're probably not going to end up with the game that you really want, but it'll have Tempest's name on it, and it'll continue that franchise legacy, and everybody will know about Tempest. You can maybe get it trending if that's your goal. If your goal is to make a really cool Tempest-style game, then you're going to have to not make it anything like Tempest. You're going to have like all those great aesthetics and colors and everything that you love. You're going to have to let it go. But you're going to end up making a really cool game that the people like the style, and maybe like that'll become its own genre, and you'll have like independent companies like riffing on your style. You can't have both. It's like there's a fork in the road, and he just didn't want it. He wanted to go both paths.
And to be fair, he took his game to Atari and said, "Hey, you can publish this," and they said no. So he tried, but
well, it sounds
one of the
things
works.
he said was that like Atari actually isn't even speaking to him. It's just their lawyers.
Yeah. They're just not responding to emails. Which is probably smart on their end, to be honest, because of the way stupid legal system works. Like, once they start engaging, it becomes a whole other thing.
If you don't have anything nice to say.
Right.
All of these franchises are like little mini gold mines. Like, I know it might not seem like they really care about Tempest or they want Tempest to be something cool, but like, you never know which one of these old franchises is going to blow up again or be a name that people recognize or fit some perfect new console or mobile, like be perfect for a mobile app or something. So it's like a lot of times these people don't know what they have, and so they don't want someone else messing with it because it's like, hey, we might realize next year that we wanted to do something with Tempest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're not scared of TXK taking away business. They're scared of their whole trademark. Once you let someone play with it, it's that whole thing. It's a gross mess. Let's do some news bits. The NPDs went live last week, basically just after we record. So normally I don't ever talk about NPDs. This is the North American sales numbers, physical only. They're becoming less and less relevant. However, what was unique about last week is that Nintendo was on top of both hardware and software in the US. Hardware with the 3DS family beat the PS4, beat the Xbox One for I think the first time since those two things have been a thing. And Majora's Mask was at the top of the software charts.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
That makes so much sense.
So I thought you were talking about a separate package for families. That literally says like the 3DS family on the box.
Yeah.
It's like this one's for families.
Yeah, it's kind of
you mean
unfair.
the 2 consoles put together?
The 2DS, the 3DS,
3DXs.
3DS
Then it's a
XL,
family.
the new 3DS XL.
Yeah. They put a lot in there.
Not only did they put out just one in the States actually, one new 3DS, but all their other 3DSs probably went on sale at the same time.
They have 3 3DSs.
Actually, they have 4.
Four.
They do have 4.
Aw.
Blood counted them right. There's a
Not
2DS
counting,
as well.
not counting the 2DS, or
The
counting-
2DS is
Counting the
part of the
2DS,
3DS
yeah.
family.
But
big
stores,
family.
stores are going to sell out their
big
stock
family.
of the original 3DS and that sort of thing too.
A lot of inbreeding in that family.
So that's pretty crazy, right? Basically, we should. What do we pull from that? Is it huge that Majora's Mask is on top? Is it like bad for Evolve? Did Evolve bomb? What do we extrapolate from this?
I feel like, yeah, even though Majora's Mask is on top, it's still only like 500,000 or 600,000, right?
550, and that
Yeah.
that actually includes digital because that number is from Nintendo's press release.
So that means it was basically a bad month for everyone.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Nobody sold over 1 million?
that's
Yeah,
a bad month.
that's a
So
bad
I don't know. I actually don't know if that's regular or not.
Well, I mean,
Remember, Tomb Raider
some of
had
these
sold
games-
more than 1 million and beyond that, and it was considered a failure almost until the definitive edition came out.
Over many months, though. I think Nintendo in its press release also said this was the best-selling launch for a handheld Zelda ever.
and some of these games didn't have a full month.
Yeah.
They
Well, that
released in
always is the
February.
case. Yeah.
But like Evolve had just as many days as Majora's Mask or more. Evolve was supposed to be huge. Evolve was like, game of the year at E3. Everyone's gonna be crazy about Evolve. Basically, that voice is the reason I think why I was rooting against Evolve, which is really unfair. Like poor Evolve is its own good game, but like anything that wins an E3 award, I'm like inherently against, which is an awful thing about my own personality.
Well, after Star Wars Galaxies, I think that everyone's kind of.
Did that win
boy.
Best of E3 one year?
I think it won it multiple years and
Oh,
then
okay.
took forever to come
I
out,
see.
and then it didn't come out in the form that it originally won the awards in.
Yeah.
But it took forever to come out is a good example. I don't think Evolve was like super delayed, but at the same time, it was, we had to sit around with Evolve marketing much longer than we did Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask, had a very untypical, like perfect Nintendo marketing campaign.
That's a great
Yeah.
point.
of just
Yeah.
teasing it forever, finally announcing it, and then like 5-6 months later, we got
Yeah.
our hands on it.
Yep.
So
Beginning
way
of
better
the
than
year,
how
or
Evolve was
earlier?
set up, where I came to that realization like a month before Evolve came out. I'm like, I've played that game. I've played all the monsters that you're going to release. I've played monsters you aren't going to release when that game launches.
You played
I've
the
been on
big
all the
alpha?
maps,
You played
and
the-
all of the modes are just different versions of reshuffling the content I've already played. Sounds like a super fun game. I played Left 4 Dead 2 forever.
Yeah.
I'm only not playing Evolve because I'm same reason I'm playing Destiny. I'm just playing other games for work.
Sure.
But yeah, I think the anticipation was much higher for Majora at launch than it was for Evolve.
Well, it was a new Zelda game for some,
Yeah.
and it was a classic Zelda game for others.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a powerful thing. Whether the game is old or new, like you have this franchise that spans 26 years now, something like that. Of course, if they bring a game back, like anybody's going to look at that being like, "Oh, I never played that one," or
That too, yeah.
this is a great place to jump into it. Like Zelda's kind of a unique franchise in that sense, where they can bring back any of those games and they're standalone. You don't have to worry about jumping in the middle of a season of this, this
Right.
thing or whatever.
Majora's definitely been a runt, I think, though. I feel like Nintendo hasn't
Yeah,
respected it.
what a
until, like,
funny
recent years.
like gem, like rosebud in your backyard. You
Yeah.
just wait and it grows and grows and grows, and then finally it's like super relevant. However
pretty
many
cool,
years
yeah.
later. How did it sell compared to when Ocarina launched? I guess better because they said it was the best.
Yeah, isn't that
handheld.
crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Well, that was
I
kind of
think
That's
early.
definitely
partly,
the opposite
yeah,
of
more,
when the game first came
more
out.
systems out now.
Yeah, a lot more
Yep.
3DSs, but yeah, it is crazy. Good for you, Majora's. So let's move on to you're the one who's okay.
Also, just great word of mouth. I think after Evolve came out, people were like, "Yeah, Evolve." Whereas like all I saw on Twitter was just like, "Oh, that boss. Oh my god, I remember this part of Majora. Oh, this is great." So like socially, I think Majora sold or played really well.
Nostalgia. Nostalgia is a key factor.
When every single person in the entire gaming industry beat Majora's Mask, they tweeted about it. They were just like, "Did it?"
This is
or
the-
something from the end. It's like I just saw a lot of people. I have not played Majora's Mask on 3DS, but I kind of lived it through a lot of other people.
That's
online.
the Doc Brown spider monster effect.
That exactly.
Like if you get this thing that people will talk about on Twitter, you got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where you can generate money from. Is like just
Yeah.
people like wanting to make jokes and like share and just like that's it. You just
I cut you off in mid. You're the one who started this conversation.
Not-
you were,
not like
you were
GT.
just like building up to it.
you were the one who stopped this conversation, Brandon. So let's move on to you're the one who started this conversation. This is, of course, the segment in which we pull comments from you, the viewers, about what we should talk about. First question, man, do you like? So what I'm going for there is like I feel like there are 10 arguments that couples have, like in a relationship, and like I feel like one of those always gets to you're the one who started this conversation. That's what that bit is.
Okay.
It's a good moment in an argument, though. You need to step back and realize like what an idiot you're being in an argument a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So that's that moment where you have to ask yourself like, I was? Oh, what are we even arguing about?
So, if that wasn't clear, like that last time, I was wondering, like I was thinking of the first time viewer, the first time listener, and just
It's clear.
being like,
No, it's good.
Okay.
Get to the question.
This is from Sazanami style. Long question for, I think, a very quick answer that we'll be able to give. I recently saw a commercial for US Beer where some random guy is pushing into a glowing neon replica of the Pac-Man maze with ghosts and pellets and all. That was a Super Bowl commercial, yeah. I was struck by how in 2015, 35 years after Pac-Man came into prominence, it seems like he's still as well known as ever. It seems like Pac-Man is more popular as a representation of a set of ideas than the fact of the game itself. Thus, my question on topic. What one gamer image is most representative of gaming overall? By this I mean you could say that Mickey Mouse is kind of a symbol for animation, as much of Mona Lisa is one for art. What is the one game, not series, that's too easy, or iconic image, or what have you, represents gaming as its most recognizable definition and ambassador of its elementary essence? Matt Blair is going
Mario.
first.
It's Mario.
I thought it might be
him
Mario.
himself, like the 8-bit, just him like
Any of them.
jumping.
They're all super recognized. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I was thinking like items though, like maybe a mushroom or maybe a star from
That's a
Mario.
cool
like,
idea.
Even the voice. It comes down to every single facet of Mario. Like, everybody's going to know it, even if you've never touched a video game before in your life.
Yeah, well, there was that one marketing blurb that went around, late 80s about Mario is more well-known than Mickey Mouse, and, like, who figured that out? I don't know. Some survey.
Focus groups.
bullcrap,
Let's
yeah.
say it because nobody can prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Also, the Space Invader like ship.
Oh yeah, that guy,
And
the video game's
Pac-Man
live
themselves,
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like there's that guy who
Oh,
does
it's the emoji.
art.
It's the
of it,
emoji
too.
for video
Yeah.
games. It's Space Invaders.
Yeah.
But there are plenty
They
of
didn't pick
people
Mario, they
that
couldn't,
never
but-
step foot into an arcade, which is kind of where I feel like you would have had to know that one in particular. That is a good
Space
one.
Invaders, yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where people don't, like, they recognize it as a video game because it's pixely, but they don't really even realize what it's from.
Sure.
Exactly.
I think joysticks, probably work, even though we don't use them very much.
Did y'all watch the trailer for Pixels?
I was just gonna mention that. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
So, like, Pac-Man's the first thing they show.
And the last thing, Pac-Man's like the triumphant ending of that trailer is Pac-Man.
Like,
Yeah.
our parents still only get Pac-Man, but, like, are, I feel like, willfully ignorant to other video game characters. If they showed Mario in that trailer, they'd be like, I don't know about this. But they see Pac-Man, they're like, yeah, that's my video game character. Adam Sandler movie. And so, like, it kind of bugs me that it's just, like, still Pac-Man? Really still? Like, we've done so many other things. Why are you still clinging to Pac-Man? I feel like Adam Sandler is too young for Pac-Man.
What?
No.
We're not too young for Pac-Man.
just-
Pac-Man
Come
was
on.
definitely one of my first games.
I remember playing Pac-Man on the Atari and thinking like, this is a perfectly fine video game.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this. Shane Satterfield had to tell me that was crap. I was like, oh yeah, I guess it
Are you
was.
sure, man?
Yeah, I mean,
I loved it.
I basically just played Pac-Man in bars. That was
Yeah.
Whoa.
And for the record,
That was before it was like, I remember. This is a weird aside.
You never did
I
that?
remember I was 10 years old and I like sat down at the bar because I've been doing it like all my life, and somebody's like, you can't sit there unless you're 21 or whatever. I'm like, what? What is your problem? So I just been taken around to all the bars.
Yeah,
while I
what were
was
you
growing
doing?
up.
What were you doing in the bar in the first place,
Just with
Blair?
my parents.
Okay.
Fun fact, he was the same height back then.
Let's do another really quick.
for the record, really, super quick. Pac-Man rules. Pac-Man's a really, really, really good.
It is
video
a good game. It
It's
is
not
a
something,
good
and that's something that we forget as we think about Pac-Man. It's like, oh yeah, that little silly. Like Pac-Man is balls hard.
It
Like,
holds
go for it. Anybody, if you find a machine, just put in a quarter. See how far you get. I dare you.
Yeah.
But
Try to get to
it's
double
a
digits.
super-
Go for it.
Super easy, super iconic thing.
I want to answer your question too, and it actually kind of plays off of what he just said.
Okay.
Pac-Man is way easier to put into a movie, not because of money or anything, because he doesn't really have a character. So you can write anything and it's going to make sense. If you try to throw Mario into a movie like that, you're going to have to try to replicate his voice and give him lines and write context.
Yeah, that's why
Impossible.
that's why I think Mario's actually not a good icon, is because there's like too many versions of him. He's too spread out.
And you might have like a generic Mario show up when they're trying to beat Donkey Kong, because that version of Mario is just monotonous.
That's Jumpman.
Jumpman, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, right. Like, so you might see a cameo or something like that, but like when they already have an established character, it's super hard to try to write something for them to fit into a movie that's got a different tone from what they usually exist in.
I want to do one more. This is just give me like 2-word answers here. This is from Jason. Could you do? You're the one who started this conversation on everybody's favorite Nintendo console. So, Brandon, what's your favorite Nintendo console?
N64, Game Boy, close second.
Nice. Daniel Bloodworth.
Oh gosh.
We'll skip on Matt Blair. What's your favorite? Ian Hink, what's your favorite Nintendo console?
The Super and then the Wii.
The Wii is number 2 for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's super.
Did you ever own a 64, Ian?
No, I didn't own a Super either, but I just have so many good memories.
Oh, yeah,
of
that's
friends'
Top 10
houses,
Nintendo consoles next week. We doing it?
My favorite
I don't know.
Nintendo console is the Wii U.
Really?
Yeah. Best of all worlds, baby.
Because of hardware, software, or
It's
both?
all of it. You know, it's what I have right now, and that's why it's my favorite. Daniel Bloodworth.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Super Nintendo and then GameCube.
Okay. GameCube number 2, very interesting. And Matt Blair, finally, we got to lock this in, buddy.
I'm having trouble with my number 2, actually. 64 is number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, and that one kind of feels like a given to me.
That's so weird.
But my number 2 has to be the NES.
Nice. Great number 2.
Classic, nostalgia, but also I feel like the Zapper had the most impact on that console. And I miss that. We have motion now, we have pointing, we have aiming with the big thing. I miss the tactile feeling of pulling that trigger and hearing the springs freak out on the inside.
That does feel cool. It feels something when you pull that trigger. Very good point. N64 though, that's like a little garbage box. I don't understand why anyone likes
What?
something. So
My
moving
mug is
on
empty,
to
I could throw it at you now. That was trolling, by the way.
that was trolling.
Not so subtle.
Just so
my
everyone's
friend.
clear, that was some trolling. Let's talk about bets. Let's make a bet.
Oh, I didn't get this far down the email.
This one's easy. Bloodborne comes out next week. How many ratings will it have on the PlayStation Store? For reference, Knack has 3,660. Brandon, I think it's your turn to go first.
Infinity.
First or last.
How many will it have by the next GT time?
Yep.
So that is $3,000 now, but that's like over a super long time.
Yeah, but it's also Knack.
Yeah, but I just don't think. So what are we talking about again specifically? User
Bloodborne.
what?
How many user ratings will it have on
User
the PlayStation?
rating. So
on the
yes, you're not like
PlayStation
writing
Store?
something. You literally are just clicking.
Number of stars.
Man, I really have no idea.
To be clear, this may or may not affect your choice.
You could go last as well, Brandon.
When you put the disc in, the PS4 registers that you own the game, therefore you can rate it, correct? You don't have to buy it digitally in order to rate it, which I think was a problem on the PS3.
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like anyone can go and give it a star.
Should look this thing up.
Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
wow.
No.
Oh, boy.
Wait,
All right.
why do I have
Hey.
to look this up? This
No.
is your bet.
No, I said I should look it up.
Oh, okay.
We established then that none of us know how that works.
Yes.
So that
But we do know
We're
that
on the same
Knack
page.
right now has 3,660. We do know that at least.
2.5K, 2,500.
Okay.
I just think that takes time.
I'm curious why you went first, Brandon, when you didn't feel so sure. Just want to lock that in, I guess.
Whatever, yeah.
Want to take that. I'm going to go with 5,000. Matt Blair.
12,000.
Whoa. That's a great bet. Daniel Bloodworth.
3,000.
3,000. Okay.
Not winning that one.
Yeah, he kind of overcame you there. All right, let me lock those
You
in.
got the low end covered.
He does have the low end
Certainly,
covered.
yeah.
If it's only 300, it's all Brandon Jones. Let's talk about last week's bet. Last week, we bet on Final Fantasy Type 0 reviews. Basically, what I do with this, I go to the top 7 reviews for Final Fantasy Type 0 HD on GameRankings.com. The bet was how many times I would see the word 15, of course, only written as XV. Here's how everyone bet last week. Blood bet 2. Brandon Jones bet 15. Kyle Bossman bet 6. Ben was in the super seat last week, Matt Blair. He bet 10. Do you think that was a good bet?
Solid bet.
All right, so this is kind of unprecedented. So we've done this thing before where I searched for a word in reviews. For the first time ever, our own review popped in within those 7. I want to ask you all if we should count that or not.
Of course we
Oh,
should.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But Ben, actually it was Damiani who wrote that review, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, technically in the future it could affect things. So going forward, we're not going to count those, correct?
No,
Not
you
correct.
should count.
We will
totally
count
count
those.
those. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
I mean, maybe if one of us actually wrote it, maybe we wouldn't.
Well,
but-
we're still editing it, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
edit out
okay,
a mention of something.
so
Yeah.
if a person placing the bet is
This
the
is not that
reviewer,
high stakes
then we
bet.
won't count it.
Yeah.
we're not making money on this, Kyle. Just move forward.
These are high stakes.
You shouldn't be putting a bet on something we're gonna write anyways.
Oh my god.
To be fair, the person who wins the bet after we stop filming gets to punch everybody else in the face. Like, that's
Right.
it.
Okay, so counting that, there are exactly 6 uses of the word 15 as XV, which means that I got it right on the money.
I'd like to change my opinion on whether or not our reviews count.
It actually wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I checked it. The one after it, I looked at the one after it. Also, no references.
Damiani actually didn't even mention that at all.
Yeah.
Right.
How about that?
Good on him. Yeah. Just for the record, yeah, GameTrailers did not use it.
So right on the money. Didn't you say you bet 10?
I bet 6.
10 was the
Ben bet 10.
Ben bet 10. Okay.
Yeah. So that means I get
10.
a point. Ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen,
I'm in last place, damn it.
our current... what the board looks like right now, Super Seed is 4 points. Daniel Bloodworth has 4 points. Brendan Jones has 1 point. And I have 2 points.
Okay.
Cool dance.
Just going to rub this in. That feels good to win one.
We're over an hour and you're rubbing it in.
Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Just your audience can look at that. So because I won that bet, what I get to do is close this out and also promote any video on the website. Man, I produced this show. I did not even plan on winning. So what video I'm going to promote is GT Live. If you don't get to catch GT Live, that is a show Brandon Jones hosts Wednesday live on Twitch at 6 p.m. But then we put it up on our website. We put it up on YouTube. So I think if you just Google GT Live, hopefully that pops up.
Oh, it comes up real quick.
Go to our channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have a playlist on there.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So check that out, please. Give us feedback. Let us know how to form that show.
YouTube.com/C/GT reviews.
What is that C for?
That's the way that they're changing.
Okay.
They're changing all the URLs, but we're just one of the first
Convoluted
ones.
is what it stands for.
So yeah, because I think that's a really exciting initiative. I feel like that stuff is the future. It's an hour-long talk show hosted by Brandon Jones. That's so exciting to me. So let us know how to make it better and everything. Let us know what to do with
Brandon Jones's GT Live.
it. God.
Full circle.
An X.
An X.
So that is our episode for this week. Thank you so much for listening or watching. We are going to say our Twitter names out loud going forward. Too many people commented on that, so now it just has to be.
I'm pretty sure I just made fun of you for it, and nobody else mentioned it.
It got a lot of favorites. If people click favorite on you making fun of me, we got to do it. So I am at Kyle Bossman.
At GameTrailers VO.
At D Bloodworth 2.
At Mattias14.
And
so good luck with that.
You're just a chatterbox on Twitter.
Oh yeah, all the time. I actually, funny we come full circle because last night I actually tweeted a picture of the amazing overstuffed macaroni and cheese with bacon burrito.
Oh, cool. So if you want to see the winning great idea.
Don't listen to me say my name out loud. Just look down. It probably was at the start of the show.
We have a lot of listeners,
Yeah.
Matt. That's why we have to say them out loud. So again, that was Mattias14.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Mattias14. You can look at the winning great idea of GT Time.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting. Everyone, thank you so much for listening or watching. We will be back here next Thursday on YouTube, Friday on GameTrailers.com. GameTrailers. I work for GameTrailers.com. You know what's weird? This is the first episode I've listened to myself as I'm doing it. I bungled the intro too. I think I said GT, welcome to G. And it's because I'm listening to myself. But also, I'm learning to speak into the microphone better, getting nice and smooth, just dragging out this outro. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's beautiful.
Is that why we're running long? Is because you... Oh, see, I was blown out there. That was bad. Is that better?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was America's Top 40. I'm Casey Kasem.
I knew that was coming.
Our final request, Mariah Carey. That don't impress me much. Wait, that don't impress me much? That's Shania Twain.
Stop.
Everyone, thank you so much. Goodbye. This is a long distance dedication.
Wow.
Coming to you.
Wow.
I love towers.